what's up you guys, this is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today on The Snapshot, we're unsheathing our rods for a nice hot time when we take a look at the Silva Aegis Prime. And that also rhymed, and that continued to rhyme. Look at that, I'm magic. Now, as with all primes, I'm going to go ahead and leave a link to their relic tables down in the description box below, mainly because you guys know that I'm terrible as fuck when it comes to keeping on top of like descriptions and things, so one link will take care of it all. However, do be aware that this will require Mastery Rank 12 to craft. So, for those of you who don't know, the Silva Aegis is a fire-based shield and sword weapon. It grants 85% directional damage reduction upon blocking, and increases both status and critical chance on your next attack by 15% for each attack block, up to a maximum of 60%. Its prime variant, however, ditches the sword for a mace, granting an additional 5% status chance, bringing it up to a base of 25, and adds a 10% boost to its critical chance as well as an increase to its critical damage, putting it at 15% with a 2x crit multiplier. In addition, it's had its base damage boosted up by 85 points, however it did take a big hit to its attack speed, bringing it down from a 1.0 animation speed down to a 0.75. It definitely hurts, but attack speed wise, it's still a jump from 35 points of damage per second up to 90. Now, as for the build, as you can see, I had to leave Life Strike off on this one as well because it's like a hybrid critical status build, and sometimes it's really hard to pick because Organ Shatter is so good and you still want Condition Overload for the extra base damage. You just want it all. You just want it all, so I'm using it with Oberon, who can get away with not necessarily using Life Strike. The only thing that I do feel is maybe a little controversial is my use of Prime Fury. Some people are going to want to go with Berserker instead. However, one of the things that I felt when using Final Harbinger, and this is just my personal kind of like feels on this situation, is that Final Harbinger, even though it's fun and makes you leap around all over the place, sometimes it's hard to like keep yourself in one place to whittle down an enemy. So having the increase of attack speed, like the fluctuation of attack speed going up and down, kind of makes it a little bit hard to control sometimes. So sometimes I like Prime Fury, sometimes I like Berserker. Really just do whatever makes you feel good in your heart and the soul. Alright, so here we are, saying hello to Billy as usual. At its top end, the Silva Aegis is actually pretty damn good. One of the things that I really like about it is because of the fact that it has base fire and it will pretty much always be proccing something, it's got a lot of control, and it's almost this weird, because of the fact that it's defensive and it has the fire proc attached to it, it's like this weird, like, I don't know how to put it, it's like this weird almost kind of like defensive weapon. And the fact that Final Harbinger has you like jumping all over the place, it's actually easy to kind of like inflict a whole bunch of fire all across the field very, very quickly. So it's kind of like you're almost CCing with this weapon. It's weird because you get the damage boost and then you get the CC potential, and then you also get to strip down armor. I don't know. I'm really feeling it, and I think it does a really good job. I mean, this is a level 150 heavy bombard, so I mean, clearly it's doing something right. It's doing something right. And look at the spinniness of the mace. They fixed it. I can't get a good angle, but there it is. Alright, so all in all, I'm actually very, very happy with the Silva Aegis. I know that there's some people out there that are, number one, bitter about the fact that it's no longer a sword, and we'll talk about that in the gameplay, and number two, because of the fact that it took a hit to its attack speed. And honestly, like, it would be nice if it had a faster attack speed, but I think that its performance still speaks for itself. I mean, a lot of us really enjoy powerful weapons, let's put it out there. You know, we like, some of us like some really overpowered shit, but DE always has to kind of maintain this balance. And I think that with status-based weapons, or, you know, well, yeah, status-based weapons, let's put that out there. With status-based weapons, it's very easy for things to look weaker than they really, really are. But as you saw with the gameplay, it was easy to take down a level 150 heavy bombard. So a part of me is kind of like, it does the job well. It has this cool angle to it that I almost feel it's like a CC defensive weapon with a boost to crit and status, and I kind of really love that. It makes it feel very unique amongst some of the other weapons that are a little bit more, let's just kill everything real fast, and it kind of adds to the whole defender feel of Oberon Prime. So I don't know. You guys let me know how you feel about it, but that does it for the facts and figures. If you want to stick around and have me yell at you for being angry that it's not a sword anymore, we'll go ahead and jump right into the gameplay. Alright, so first and foremost, let me apologize for all of the weird stuttering that's been happening in videos lately. I kind of took some time to do a little bit of research, and I've been digging through, like, changing around drivers and all of that kind of stuff, and just trying to figure out what it is that's causing it. I think I might have nailed it, but I'll be honest with you, it could completely be fooling me. One of the big things being that when I put it in my editor, it looks like it's skipping, but then when I play the raw file, it's not skipping, and then when I render the file that looks like it's skipping in my editor, it's totally fine when it comes out. So now I'm like, I don't even know what's happening anymore. But I checked some of the old files and they were skipping, so I'm like, I can't tell you what's happening with all of this, but I think that I fixed it. I've been diddling around with some settings. I've updated OBS itself, so not only the drivers, but we're also updating the actual capture software. So I'm like, okay, let's figure it out. But now let's get to the Silva and Aegis. Apart from all of the apologizing that I had to do there for a hot minute, but I get why some people are sad that it's not a sword. But if we look at the weapon itself, it's like base fire damage. So kind of like at the end of the day, it could have been anything. It could have been a fire pole. It could have been a fire, I don't know, what else could it have been? It could have been like a fire fan. It could have been a fire staff. It could have been a fire, whatever the fuck works for him just smashing things with it. It could, honestly, could have been anything. And I think that it was kind of fun that they took creative license that it wasn't a sword. They were like, well, originally it was this, because at the end of the day, it's still a fire-based weapon. It's not like there was any slashing. It's not like there was any slashing on it to begin with. So you can't really feel for its loss there. There wasn't any slashing damage on it. You know what I mean? It was just straight up fire. So it still totally fits. It still totally fits, and I kind of like it because it definitely works with Oberon's aesthetic. I think a lot of people were assuming that he would get something like the Magistar, and he kind of did. He got the Fire Magistar with shield accompanied. Now I was laughing because when I saw this the first time, I was like, he looks straight up like Kingler. He looks straight up like Kingler. And I kind of don't hate it. I kind of think it looks pretty cool. I'm a big fan of the model. And I like how it kind of like slots in there, and it looks almost like it's got fire horns. You know, it feels like it was perfectly, it works perfectly with Oberon Prime. And I'm like, he's got the whole Minotaur feel, he's got the whole crazy bull thing with the horns and whatnot, and he looks like a knight with a chest piece, but he also looks like he could smite people. I mean, you don't smite people with a sword, last time I checked. Usually you smite people with like hammers or magic, but smiting is not something that typically happens with bladed weapons, right? I don't know, I just feel like every game that I've ever been in that has like a healer class or a cleric class, and they smite, it's usually hammer based. So I feel like that totally fits in, and I like the fact that they were able to change it up. You know, they were able to kind of make it a little bit different. I mean, let's be real, a fire sword would have been pretty fucking badass to go along with Oberon, but kind of like at the same time, at the end of the day, it's almost a little too typical for DE. DE likes to make things a little weird, make things a little bit unexpected, which I can definitely appreciate when it comes to kind of like the stylization of Warframe, and that's almost why I like Warframe, because there's so many tropes that we kind of like fall into, but they kind of break them. They kind of make them a little weird. They kind of make them a little bit different, and I'm definitely into that. Ooh, there's like a lot of them here. No, you guys can stop. You can stop. You can like not be a part of this at all. But yeah, so I mean, I think the model still looks pretty fucking sick. I don't know about the rest of you guys. Let me know in the comments if you guys are really that butthurt, because I know some people are butthurt. I know that some people are definitely butthurt over this, but I can't imagine that everybody's butthurt over it, because I definitely think that the Fire Mace looks pretty sick. I mean, maybe if they had a little bit more detailing on the rod part, but I guess you're inserting the rod part into the claw part, so so maybe you can't have that much detail on it. I don't know, but I feel like maybe if there's a little more detail towards like the fistula area, it would look a little bit cooler, because like if you look at the shield itself, the shield looks pretty freaking badass. And then the mace looks cool at the end, and the twisty bit on the mace, now that they fixed it, also looks pretty fucking fantastic. But the actual, you know, the actual rod part, the actual part that you're gripping hold of, looks a little bit plain. But besides that, I think it still looks pretty good. Now that the rotation's in, it really looks like it's kind of come to life. It looks like it's a little fireball. It's like a fiery cotton ball. Is that appropriate to say? And I think and the only gripe that I think that I do have with the weapon now, and I won't say that it's necessarily a gripe, but the jumpiness of Final Harbinger, don't get me wrong, I love Final Harbinger. I love the fact that you can throw a motherfucking shield at your enemies and then you can ride the shield around to smash enemies down, but I do kind of feel like it's a little jumpy, a little jumpier than I'd like, if I'm gonna be honest with you. So part of it is like, oh, well, maybe I just want something that I can just smash and bash with. So I'm kind of crossing my fingers that maybe they'll make, another stance that isn't so super crazy hyper acrobatic, you know what I mean? Because I feel like this one's maybe even a little too much. I'm scared to try 11th hour though, because I'm scared that I'm gonna try it and be like, oh wow, this is the worst, and it probably is. I have a feeling that it's like not as bad as the machete sundering weave, but I feel like it's kind of somewhere there. Because last time I remember that the combos were just not very fun to pull off. It was just not an enjoyable time. But a part of me, you know, wants to kind of, you know, when you kind of want to bash into an enemy, you kind of just want to have a little hack at them. And this feels a little bit like I'm performing a very dangerous ballet with a big stick. And I mean, it's not terrible. It's just, I don't know. I feel like I need better options than, you know, shield ballet and just general boring bad stance. Is that too much to ask? Maybe I should have whipped out 11 Storm for this, just so that I'm a little bit more familiar with what I'm hating on, because legit it's been such a long time since I've used 11 Storm. But I guess, like I was saying kind of like in the review, I guess it kind of helps in spreading the fire status and kind of helps provide a little bit of CC when you can't kill an enemy outright with some of the strikes. The fire effect looks fantastic though. I wish we had like exact fire statistics, exact colors for fire. I know I always just pull from like the Ember one, because, you know, I figure it's Ember. So hers is going to be the closest energy color to fire. So that's the thing, but I almost wish that we had like colors that were like multi-dimensional, you know what I mean? So that the fire could be like legit, could you know, look legitimately like the fire procs. And I wish we had the same going for electric procs and all that kind of stuff, and yada yada yada, so on and so forth. I'm just being picky now. As for the weapon itself though, I'm kind of really fond of it. I looked at it as compared to some of the other weapons, and I was surprised at how, and this sounds bad, how not as good as it is as compared to some of the other ones. I think Sindo Prime was sitting at about, what, 130? 130 base damage, 1.0 attack speed per second, so I'm kind of like, alright, well, is it 1.0 attack? I'm pretty sure it's close to 1.0 attack speed. It's nowhere near as far down. It's nowhere near as far down as this, so I'm like, oh, so even the Sindo Prime, like, if we're just looking at it on paper, is better than this. But I kind of wanted to look at it for, like, what it is, too, because of the fact that, you know, it does have extra defenses when you're blocking, and it does get, you know, bonus, like, critical chance and status chance built in when you are blocking. So it's kind of like you almost have to look at it individually and judge it based off of that, rather than trying to judge it based off of the stats alone. And at the end of the day, and let's be real, at the end of the day, it's a fully elemental weapon, so its heightened status, is even better because you get really focused stats. You know, you don't get to shred armor as easily with the Sindo Prime because you have to fight over the IPS. I'm gonna say goodbye to this group. They're beautiful and wonderful, however, this is the end of the recording. But yeah, so I was kind of like bummed at that because I was like, ooh, it's like a Master Rank 12, it should have some pump to it. But, you know, at the end of the day, I still think it gets the job done. I mean, you can see it smack down, you know, a level 150 Billy, and it did it fairly quickly, and it controlled him at the same time, so I'm kind of like, you get a good strong defense of an 85% damage reduction, which, of course, works with Oberon's armor as well, so it's kind of like, it's all good, it's all pluses, it all works together, and I think that it fits with what was going on with Oberon at the same time. You know, he gets bonus defenses and all that good stuff. Regardless, let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. Are you guys really that butthurt over the fact that it is not a sword? Because I think the mace is still pretty fucking cool, especially with the rotating bits. You don't get rotating bits with a sword, you guys. You don't get rotating bits. And let's face it, this was a big upgrade from like a fucking lightsaber handle and some coming out the end of it. Okay, let's be real about that. Regardless, let me know how you feel about kind of like its weird defensive placements and some of its, you know, kind of like ability to do some crowd controlling. Am I crazy? Am I crazy? Let me know. Well, everybody already knows I'm crazy. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and pray that this render is not absolute shit and stutters, and then touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!